Well, welcome back to Normandy with me, Patrick Hillier of WeLoveNormandy.com. This is D-Day Live, part of my program of on-location virtual D-Day tours. Although today I'm not giving a tour. We're here to take part in and witness the ceremony to commemorate the liberation of the Normandy city of Coutances, liberated on the 28th of July 1944. And we're also here to, so you're all very welcome to join us. Thank you for tuning in. The ceremony is due to start at 6 o'clock. We're also here in the presence of a lady called Molly Storck, who is the daughter of Colonel Louis J Storck, one of the liberators of Coutances, who was tragically killed in an anti-tank mine accident on the 30th of July 1944. So I'm hoping to have a chat with Molly after the ceremony, so stay tuned for that. She's a lovely lady. We've known each other for several years now, and that'll be coming up after the ceremony, probably about 6:30 French time. The ceremony, as I say, due to start in about 5 minutes. What I'll do is I'll swing around to the front camera and let you see what's going on here in this charming little town of Coutances. Hi there, Mark. Thank you for letting me know that the pictures and sound are coming through well. I've got, let me just show you what I've got. What I've got that's different today compared to my usual tours. I don't have my lapel microphone. I have my interview microphone, so that I can actually, we can talk to Molly and perhaps Mr. Miller, who's going to say a few words about the Royal British Legion charity, and that's coming up shortly. So let me just swing around, say a couple of things about the history of Coutances, its liberation. Coutances, in the centre of Lower Normandy, at the lower end of the Coutances Peninsula, southern end, if you like, of the region that was famous for the so-called Battle of the Hedgerows through mid to late June and into July 1944. The town itself was liberated by the 4th Armoured Division. Colonel Storck, whose memory this square is named for, was a commander in the Combat Command Reserve section of the 4th Armoured Division. And the town was liberated on the 28th of July to relatively light enemy resistance. However, Colonel Storck, unfortunately returning in a jeep with 2 soldiers, was killed in an anti-tank mine explosion. Now, if you're watching this on Facebook, let me swing back around to me again. If you're watching this on Facebook, thank you very much indeed. Please let me know where you're viewing from, and let me know your name, say hi, and I'll give you a shout out. You can also like and share the post. If you share this now, then all of your friends and contacts will be able to tune in, the more the merrier. But if you are watching on Facebook, click on the link onto the We Love Normandy website, because on the website there's also, as always with my virtual tours, there's extra footage and information. And today on the live page of the website, if you click the link, there is some actual footage of the 4th Armoured Division in Coutances just after the liberation, at the moment when sadly Colonel Storck's jeep hit the landmine, and you actually you see you don't see the actual jeep, but you see the plume of smoke from the explosion that resulted, and then you see that the medics, Red Cross medics, going into action. So it's fascinating bit of footage. I suggest you have a look at that. As I say, click on the link on the Facebook page, and underneath this video page that you're watching now, you'll see that YouTube footage of Coutances just after the liberation in July 1944. Anyway, I'm going to put you back onto the front camera now. As I say, stay tuned for the interview or the chat that we're going to have with Molly Storck, daughter of Colonel Storck. Hi there, Vicky. Thanks for tuning in. That's all coming up after the ceremony. You may have just seen my hat blowing off in the wind there. There's always something on one of my broadcasts. I either get lost or fall in a flooded bunker or lose me hat.
Bonjour. Bonjour à tous. Merci d'être présents. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you for being here today. Je tiens à excuser Madame Goums Arnaud, l'Association Royale Legion et Monsieur Chasseloup, président ONC Coutances. Aujourd'hui, 28 juillet, anniversaire de la libération de Coutances, nous sommes réunis dans le square qui rend hommage aux libérateurs, en particulier au colonel Storck, qui perdit la vie en libérant notre ville. Today, on July the 20th, to celebrate the anniversary of liberation of Coutances, we are here in the square in tribute to the liberators and in particular to Colonel Storck, who lost his life while liberating ours. Nous sommes honorés par la présence de sa fille, Madame Louis Storck, qui est venue de Grande-Bretagne pour assister à cette commémoration. Elle est accompagnée de Monsieur Miller. We are honored by the presence of his daughter, Mrs. Molly Storck, who has come from Great Britain to attend this commemoration. Mrs. Storck is present with Mr. Miller. La cérémonie va se dérouler comme suit. Prise de parole de Monsieur Savary, adjoint à la culture et aux devoirs de mémoire, dépôt de gerbes, prière pour la paix, minute de silence, hymne américain et français. These ceremonies will follow by steps. A speech by Mr. Savary, deputy more in charge of memory, wreath laying, a prayer for peace, a minute of silence, the American and French anthems. Pour commencer, M. Savary va prendre la parole.
Bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Peut-être. At first, I would like to wish welcome to our friends. La libération, c'est la porte d'entrée vers la liberté, un passage essentiel qui a laissé sur le pas de la porte nombre de civils, de résistants et de soldats français et alliés, parmi eux Louis Storck. Eux qui ont lutté et se sont battus pour cette liberté tant attendue à Coutances, en France et dans toute l'Europe. Aujourd'hui, 77 ans après, ce souvenir est essentiel pour des raisons morales, car il ne faut jamais oublier les dettes qui sont les nôtres, et pour retrouver raison et mesure dans notre rapport à la liberté, à une époque où les messages sont parfois troublés du fait de raccourcis et de comparaisons indignes. Ce souvenir, c'est aussi entretenir le témoignage des acteurs de cette époque, et c'est la raison pour laquelle, comme la tradition le veut à Coutances, je vais vous lire un extrait du livre du père Cadel qui assistait à la libération de Coutances. Le lundi 24 juillet, l'hôpital militaire allemand, installé au château de Monthuchon, est bombardé au moment où il se préparait à partir vers le sud. La vénérable châtelle trouve la mort. Le lendemain, ce sont plus de 6000 bombes qui sont jetées à l'ouest de Saint-Lô sur 8 km de long et 4 km de large pour percer le front de Normandie. Les bombardiers attaquent encore tous les ponts de la région, le pont de la Roque est brisé, les routes sont mitraillées en permanence, l'aviation harcèle les fuyards allemands. À Cambernon, les boulangers de l'armée allemande arrêtent la cuisson du pain, les bouchers reviennent de Perrier sans avoir trouvé leurs camarades partout. L'atelier de réparation se replie sur Gavray. Le jeudi 27 juillet, pendant la nuit, a lieu le grand décrochage. Sur toutes les routes, chars, automobiles, voitures à cheval refluent à grande allure sur 2 colonnes. On voit passer tout ce qui peut rouler, vieilles calèches, corbillards, faucheuses, camions, motos et vélos. Le tout est chargé de soldats et de matériel. L'artillerie américaine devient plus agressive dans l'après-midi, plusieurs Allemands sont tués. Dans la matinée du vendredi 28 juillet, l'attention des Coutances restée aux environs nord et ouest de la ville est attirée par un avion libellule qui vole très bas et très lentement. C'est un avion américain. Pourquoi ne tire-t-il pas sur le char allemand qui avance en tous les vies, pense un homme, traverse une route? La raison est simple. Le char est américain. À 1h30, une colonne alliée venant de Monthuchon passe près de la chapelle de la Mare. Elle est survolée, elle aussi, par un avion mouchard qui la renseigne sur les points de résistance ennemis. 2 files de tirailleurs inspectent les haies en avançant pas à pas. Une rangée de chars les suit, laissant chaque blindé un intervalle de 30 mètres. Dans un des chars se trouve un général reconnaissable aux 12 étoiles de son fils. La colonne s'arrête brusquement. Un char vient de sauter sur une mine à la hauteur des établissements Keinec. Un officier est tué par un autre. Les Allemands, demeurés en ville, s'enfuient et gagnent le bois des Vignettes. Ils vont tirer quelque temps sur le boulevard. Une batterie placée à Saucé envoie elle aussi des projectiles. Les Américains répondent. Un point de résistance se fait sentir au cimetière aux chevaux. Camions et chars flambent. Il y a des morts de chaque côté. Vers 5h30, les Alliés pénètrent en ville. Coutances est libérée. Les Américains rendent visite aux séminaristes. Ils pénètrent avec crainte dans la cathédrale, mais il n'y a ni mine, ni piège à l'intérieur. Des officiers s'installent, les uns pour quelques jours, d'autres pour plus longtemps. Le colonel Hobson, les majors Smith, Nolfo, Appleton, Régnier, Cook, et même quelques Français. Le colonel Chauveau, le capitaine Johannes, le lieutenant Guillemin. Coutainville est libéré le même jour. Dès le 30 juillet, le pont de la Roque est provisoirement réparé. 2 petits passages ont été construits dans le Marais. Une multitude de chars portant chacun un indicateur rouge pour être reconnus de l'aviation traverse ces ponts et se lance à la poursuite de l'ennemi. La libération de la France est en marche.
Merci. Nous allons procéder au dépôt de gerbes. Donc gerbe de la ville de Coutances qui sera déposée par Monsieur Miller, accompagné de Monsieur Renaud et Monsieur Savary. Madame Storck participe à ce projet. Madame Derrick, responsable de l'église anglicane de Brateau, va nous dire une prière pour la paix.
Heavenly Father, remember your holy promise and look with love on all your people, living and departed. On this day, we especially ask that you hold forever all who suffered during the liberation of Coutances and the surrounding villages during the Second World War. We pray for those who returned scarred by warfare, wounded and disillusioned, for those who bravely risked their own lives for their comrades and innocent inhabitants, for those who waited anxiously at home, and for those who mourned. We remember too those who acted with compassion to others, regardless of faith, colour or nationality, and those who still today continue to work tirelessly for a more peaceful world. And as you remember them, remember us, O Lord. Grant us peace in our time, and a longing for the day when people of every race, nationality and language would be brought into the unity of Christ's kingdom. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. Dieu Père, souviens-toi de ta sainte promesse et regarde avec amour tout ton peuple, vivant et disparu. En ce jour, nous vous demandons particulièrement de retenir pour toujours tous ceux qui ont souffert lors de la libération de Coutances et des communes environnantes pendant la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Nous prions pour ceux qui sont revenus marqués par la guerre, blessés et désabusés, pour ceux qui ont courageusement risqué de vie pour leurs camarades et habitants innocents, pour ceux qui attendent anxieusement à la maison et pour ceux qui pleuraient. Nous nous souvenons aussi de ceux qui ont agi avec compassion envers les autres, indépendamment de leur foi, de leur couleur ou de leur nationalité, et de ceux qui encore aujourd'hui continuent de travailler sans relâche pour un monde plus paisible. Et tandis que tu souviens d'eux, souviens-toi de nous, ô Seigneur. Accorde-nous la paix à notre époque et le désir de jour où des personnes de toutes races, nationalités et langues seront amenées dans l'unité du royaume de Christ. Nous le demandons au nom de notre Seigneur et Sauveur, Jésus-Christ. Amen. Maintenant, chacun dans chaque langue. Notre Père, qui es aux cieux, que ton nom soit sanctifié, que ton règne vienne, que ta volonté soit faite, sur la terre comme au ciel. Donne-nous aujourd'hui notre pain de ce jour. Pardonne-nous nos offenses, comme nous pardonnons aussi à ceux qui nous ont offensés. Et ne nous soumets pas dans la tentation, mais délivre-nous du mal. Car c'est à toi qui appartient la reine, la puissance et la gloire, au siècle des siècles. Amen.
à la mémoire de tous ces soldats morts pour libérer Coutances et la France. Nous allons respecter une minute de silence. Aux morts.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we hailed were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting the air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans nos campagnes mugir ces féroces soldats? Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger vos fils et vos campagnes. Vous hommes citoyens, formez vos bataillons, marchons, marchons, car nous abreuve nos sillons.
Merci Madame Huck. Pour clore cette cérémonie, je vais demander aux autorités de remercier les porte-drapeaux. Merci à tous et bonne fin de journée.
Well, thank you very much for sticking with us during that very touching ceremony. Let me take the mask off for the time being. So what we've just witnessed there was the ceremony to commemorate the liberation of Coutances, liberated on the 28th of July 1944 by the US 4th Armoured Division, and also to remember and commemorate the life and sadly the death of Colonel Louis J Storck, who was commemorated in the naming of this square, Colonel Storck Square. He died in a jeep explosion as the result of a landmine or an anti-tank mine, and died of his wounds on the 30th of July 1944. Now we saw there two people shaking hands with the flag bearers. One of them is Molly Storck, the daughter of Colonel Storck, and I'm hoping to have a few words with Molly before we end today, so stick with us for that. If you've any interest in Coutances, its liberation here in the centre of Normandy, a key town in the liberation of Normandy and the Battle of Normandy that raged for 3 months after D-Day, don't forget. Have a look on my website, there's lots of information there. And if you want to see the video of the town just shortly after the liberation, which includes actually the smoke from the explosion that resulted in Colonel Storck's sad death, then you can have a look at that on the live page of the welovenormandy.com website. Click on, if you're watching on Facebook, click on the link and that'll take you to the live page, and you can see that YouTube video of the town of Coutances shortly after the liberation, and that awful explosion that resulted in Colonel Storck's death. Okay, well, I'm going to go and see if we can have a few words with various people. I'll have to put my mask back on because we're observing the social distancing rules here. As this is a social gathering. Why don't we start with Mr. Miller here. Stuart, good to see you. How are you?
Delighted to be here.
How are you, sir?
I'm well indeed.
Jolly good.
A few days after my 90th birthday.
Well, many happy returns. Congratulations.
You're very kind.
Yeah.
And
so,
we're still here.
And you're helping organising this thing, and you are representing, I suppose, today the Royal British Legion.
Yes, in association with the municipality, who are very cooperative, very good to work with, and both Molly and I are honoured to be involved.
Wonderful. We have a lot of American people tuned in today. For our American viewers,
I understand.
For our American viewers, can you say a few words about the Royal British Legion and what it does?
And I think Ronsey is celebrating tomorrow. We understand.
Yeah.
We normally get involved in that as well, but not this year.
Okay. So I understand that the Royal British Legion, the patron of the Legion, is Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
And what does the Legion do? What's the main?
It maintains the morale of ex-servicemen, their well-being, their health, their security, and their families.
Wonderful. Well, I know we've done some fundraisers for the Legion in the past, and it's great that they're being represented here today. Thank you very much. Oh, one more question, Stuart. You live in Normandy. What do you love so much about this beautiful region?
Would you repeat the question?
You live in Normandy. As you know, you and I have been friends now for nearly 20 years. I know where you live, but for our viewers, what do you love about Normandy?
Its history, its tradition, the kindness that I've received right across the board with all the music and all the cultural activities and all the fundraising and all the associations. Total cooperation and a delight to work with. And I live in the most beautiful valley in northern France.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Stuart. Worth mentioning, of course, Mr. Miller, you are, of course, a veteran of the British Navy. Would you like to tell the people what you were doing with the British Navy?
Yes, I joined just after the war, as a rating cadet in 1945, and I continued through the mess decks and into a non-commissioned officer, then my commission, then I became a staff officer and a lecturer in tactical and missile warfare.
Wow.
And I had 5 command positions.
Well, thank you very much indeed for sharing that with us. We're going to go and have a chat with Molly Storck. Thank you, Stuart. Bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour, messieurs. Hello, Molly. Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Did you? Now, let me just tell viewers that you actually live in England. So, did you have any problems getting from England to Normandy?
Not getting there, but at the immigration, I had to queue up for 45 minutes because of the paperwork.
How dare they? We should have put a word in for you.
What do you mean? Just get me home.
So I've told the viewers that you are the daughter of Louis John Storck. This square we're standing in is a Colonel Storck Square. So it must be very touching for you to be here on these anniversaries.
It's very moving indeed, and I'm very proud, and I'm very grateful to the city of Coutances for giving us this honor. It is an honor indeed.
And we're very, very lucky that you were able to travel and be with us again today, because I know we were here a year ago today, and it's great that you were able to get back.
We'll be back.
We were going to be back every year. Now let me ask you a question. I read somewhere that Coutances, as well as being terribly destroyed by the bombing on D-Day and later in June as well, resulted in about 60% destruction in the town, and 250 French citizens lost their lives here in Coutances. And yet today you look around and you see the people of Coutances still commemorating and honouring their liberators. How does that make you feel?
Very proud and very grateful that they still commemorate these things. I mean, we're talking, 70 years ago?
77 years.
77 years.
And so I hope that you're going to have some time to enjoy this beautiful countryside in Normandy while you're here.
I'm only here another 2 weeks. I've only come over for this ceremony.
Okay. Well, during those 2 weeks, what do you plan to do?
Have lunch with my friends. Unfortunately, La Delise isn't there anymore.
Well, that's very nice of you to say so. I'll explain that to the viewers later. But that's wonderful. Now, I think I asked you the same question last year, but just for the viewers who are tuned in now, when you get back this evening, is it going to be a glass of white wine or a cup of tea?
Red wine. The English drink the tea. We Americans do not.
Well, that's wonderful. So, explain why you're an American citizen. You're the daughter of Colonel Louis Storck. How did you end up living in Great Britain?
It's a long story, Patrick. You don't have time, nor your viewers. But I came to Europe and I liked it. I've worked in Paris. I've worked in Frankfurt. But because my job was publishing, my English language was better in London than on the continent. So I just stayed.
Well, we're very pleased to have you here and in France. And finally, I don't want to give away your age, but obviously you were born and lived through the Second World War. Do you have any advice for people now that we are at war with this coronavirus thing?
Exercise, exercise, exercise. That's my advice to everybody.
Fabulous advice, Molly. Thank you very much indeed. It's been a great pleasure. I hope we can share a glass of something in the near future, if not this evening. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Stuart.
We have a photograph with Jackie. Should we do that?
Yeah, we can have a little interview with Jackie actually.
C'est juste quand tu fais qu'on écoute. Les sudistes sont... Mais non, certains, même moi, les événements graves, c'est plutôt dans le
C'est
nord.
ça, oui, c'est exactement.
Au contraire de ce que devrait...
Exactement. Quand j'étais à Chicago, maman m'avait dit, mais Jackie, dans Alabama, j'ai jamais...
So we're gonna have a couple of words hopefully with Ms. Frost. Let me just introduce you to the viewers.
So nice nice to be here.
It's nice to see you as well. Jacqueline Frost.
Yes.
You're here. Let me introduce you. This is Jacqueline Frost, another a transatlantic lady, because you're actually a British citizen, but you are also.
Well, I'm British. My side of my father came from England on a land grant from King George III into Charlestown, South Carolina, up the Petey River to Columbia, and they established cotton farming, which was important. And so that side, I'm very British, and I've gone back, and my father kept up. And on my mother's side, actually on the contrary, Huguenots from southern France, who unfortunately, as you know, with the revocation of the Edict of Nantes with Louis XIV, all the Protestants were told to leave France or be killed. So
you're American, you're British, and you're French. And I know you speak beautiful French, and you're here in Normandy. You live in Normandy.
Yes, I live in Brickbeck in Normandy.
And what is your favourite aspects of life in Normandy?
It's very interesting. Number one is really the lovely countryside. You have everything, beautiful cliffs. Maybe not the cliffs of Dover of England. You have beaches, and the Normans are really very patriotic and lovely people. They are welcoming, especially to the British and Americans after liberating Normandy. And there's a special character of the Normans which is strong. They've overcome a lot, starting with the Vikings. No, but they have a strong character, and they've accepted me. I'm the only American in my town, and they've accepted me with a lot of friendship.
And of course, the French citizens here in Normandy paid a terrible price in terms of the destruction of property and human lives during the liberation, during the invasion of Normandy by the Allies 77 years ago. Does it surprise you that the Americans and the British are still held in such high esteem here?
It is, because 20,000, that's the official number, I'm sure it was more, who lost everything. The bombs, I look at the bombs now, some on the television, that they go to Iraq in a pinpoint. The bombs were very unable to do it with the wind, and it was a tragedy. The loss of I don't know why there's a love for the British. And I guess they had such, they ate molded bread, they didn't have food, the Germans took over their homes. They were just happy to have at least their land, or the possibility of getting new land and starting over, but with poverty.
I can't help seeing one of your badges there, one of your pins. We have a lot of followers of We Love Normandy are interested in the US airborne troops, and there you have the AA, the All-American of the airborne troops. Have you got a particular association with?
It's easy. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm 2 hours from Fort Bragg, and I've gone to Fort Bragg many times because early in my life, in my 30s, I was politically active, and we were going to the soldiers to help them with the laws that would have given them more veterans benefits, and got to know them. And then they come every year to St. Mary Glees, which is 10 minutes from me, and I go and sit with them and talk with them about their work. And they do gospel singing. They have a gospel group. They're really, the Green Berets, all Fort Bragg has a special, they're very specially chosen, and they choose themselves to go into the Airborne and Parachute Division, the Green Berets.
Well, thank you very much, Jacqueline. I know there's a lot of people watching this over in the States who wish they could be in St. Mary Glees now, but we're hopeful that people are going to be able to travel again real soon. And when they do, they've got to go to St. Mary Glees, right?
They really, really do, because, of course, John Steele, his effigy is hanging from the church forever, and the people at St. Mary. What amazes me, this is a sweet story, it's a brief one. I was with some 82nd Airborne Division men, and the woman was giving a tour, and they said, I wonder what she's saying. I said, ma'am, these are the soldiers I'd like to translate. They're interested. Yes, so I translated the tour, including the lovely stained glass. Yeah. And afterwards she started crying, and I thought, really? And the man said, what is it? And she said, no, I just remembered. I was 11 years old. I was out milking the cow at 4 a.m. I looked in the sky, and I came and said, Daddy, what's happening is the God is sending angels to deliver us from the Nazis. The angels are falling from heaven. I got to follow them. She took off running. Her daddy put on his boots, tried to follow her. She was faster at 11 years old, and she went all the way until a farmer finally got her. But she said, no, I'm going to town. And she said she'll never forget that, and she told that to the soldiers, and they started crying, and then they had a big hug, love-in, and they kept in touch. So that's a real story a little 11-year-old girl farming cows, and she said angels are falling from heaven. Isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely
That's
beautiful,
what they
Jacqueline.
call
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, Mrs. Renault, the mayor's
The
wife.
mayor's wife, yeah. She was interviewed by Eisenhower in a 1968 interview, I think. You can see that on YouTube, yeah.
All of her life to find little flowers, temporary graves, and find in the War Department the names of the parents. Farmers in Iowa didn't even know where Europe was, much less Hitler. She dedicated her life. What a woman.
Wow.
I wish I'd had a chance to meet her.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much indeed, Jacqueline. And it was a wonderful opportunity to chat to two American ladies. Molly as well, thank you very much indeed. And Stuart, representing us Brits, thank you very much indeed.
Great pleasure.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you very much.
He represents the Brits beautifully.
Well, thank you for tuning in. That just about brings us to the end of this broadcast from the ceremony in Coutances. There's one of these liberation ceremonies in practically every village and town in the Normandy region. It's really touching. Still 77 years later, the mayor of the town will come out, the veterans of the town will bear the flags, and some sort of ceremony will take place. People ask me, is D-Day and the liberation of France, are they still commemorated? Absolutely, you saw that this evening. It's not just the big ceremonies like the one we were at 2 years ago when the presidents of the United States and France and all the veterans were at the American Cemetery in Colville. It's not just the big events like that. It's these little events that really make a difference to people's lives in the local areas. Anyway, so thank you very much indeed for tuning in. We talked a little tiny bit about the history of Coutances. Didn't get too much chance to talk about that, but maybe we'll cover that in a future webinar. I have some events coming up on the 25th of August. We're going to be at Utah Beach, Strong Point 10, which is a new tour in my repertoire. I've been there many times, but have never broadcast from there before. Lots of bunkers, lots of monuments. And we're going to be on Juno Beach on the 8th of September. So anybody interested in the Canadian Canadian operations on D-Day, that's on the 8th of September on Juno Beach. If you've enjoyed tonight's or appreciated tonight's broadcast and you'd like to subscribe to We Love Normandy and the virtual D-Day program, you can do so on the website. Just click on the link on the Facebook page. And if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so as well. You can help financially because we run all of these tours free of charge, and every little helps. Or you can help by sharing on social media and that kind of stuff. Click on the website and you'll see information about that. There's also my most recent post is a top 10 D-Day sites list, so have a look at that. If you're coming to Normandy later this year or hopefully next year, have a look at the top 10 D-Day sites. That's our completely biased list of the best places to go in the D-Day area. And if you are coming to Normandy, have a look at the accommodation and the guided tours that we provide. We work with some fabulous properties here in Normandy if you want to come and stay in the area. So that about wraps it up from me. Thank you very much indeed, as I say, for watching. And I think we're going to do the Zoom platoon in a few minutes. Anne-Marie, I can see you're tuned in. Thank you very much for joining us. And I guess we're going to be seeing you in a few minutes on Zoom. And if you want to join the We Love Normandy paid subscriber plan, you can participate in the debriefing Zoom meeting that we have after all of these tours. Again, information is on the website. So from me, I'm going to leave you with a picture of the flags here. From me in Normandy on the 28th of July, the 77th anniversary of the liberation of this beautiful town of Coutances. It's au revoir and see you soon. Thank you.